Scott Talley here from the worldwide headquarters of Network in Action with Mr. Paul Marcus, LPI. What does that mean, Paul, LPI?
Licensed Private Investigator.
All right, we've got a great topic today. I'll tell you what, you need to know about this topic because there's lots of liability if you don't. Paul owns Marcus Background Investigations.
Right.
And have been doing it for how long?
17 years.
Oh, wow. So you started when you were very young.
Very young. Dark hair.
Full head of hair and 6'4", right?
Right.
So I know that like every industry, this industry is bound to have changed with technology. But talk a little bit about background checks just in general, and especially as it relates to businesses and why they should get them.
Okay. More and more businesses and individuals are doing background checks. The reasons for this is that negligent hiring lawsuits have come about, more prevalent. People are looking for ways to sue the consumer reporting agencies, which we are, and to make sure that they get a good background check. Also, the damages could be from anywhere from $1 million to $40 million that are damages against a company. Plus against a reputation. If they're a franchise, say, the whole franchise might be affected by it. So you definitely need a good, thorough background check.
That is crazy. I've seen some lawsuits from customers against companies, and you see things like you see them lately a lot with Uber and Lyft and things like that. But like you're telling me that it could cost the company millions of dollars in liability for not running a $45 background check.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
Absolutely. A good lawyer would be able to go in there, ask a couple of questions. If a company does not do a good background check, right away he could catch them.
Wow. Unbelievable. I had no idea the damages could be that much. So when you're doing a background check, what types of things are you looking for, and what are the difference in background checks?
What I'm looking for is, for companies, I'm looking for criminal history. Criminal history anywhere from 7 to 10 years. The amount of time to go back is 7 to 10 years. What am I looking for? I'm looking for felonies. I'm looking for misdemeanors, looking at driving records, looking at federal charges, and also looking at the Social Security number, make sure it's a valid number and if it really belongs to the person.
So if I'm a business owner, do I have different layers or levels or types of background checks I can get? I can go deeper if I want, or just to get a surface check, or how does that work?
You can go deeper, but the recommended package that most of us in the industry, and I belong to a national organization, do, are at least checking the social trace. We check a multi-database alias search, which means from around the country. It's not the whole country, but it's selected jurisdictions. The most important part is doing the real-time county searches, because real-time county searches, that's where 90% of the records come from. So you want to check that, and you want to check the federal records. Federal records do not show up on state, national, or local background checks. And you must check aliases too, because it's been estimated that approximately 40% of the records come from alias records.
Oh, wow.
So if someone had been married, that might come up. We found many of these. Also, someone changed their name. We found them.
Wow. So you've got to do a little more search. And typically, how long does it take a background check to come back once I submit it to you?
Most of the time, you'll get it back within 2 days or so, unless it's a rural county in Wyoming, which doesn't get checked very often.
So it'll take a little bit longer.
Yeah, a little bit longer.
As with the advent of the internet and all the different types of companies that come on there's bound to be companies where I can just go on the internet and try to find a background check. In fact, one day I was on a long subway ride in New York, and I got suckered into some little email that said, hey, would you like to learn more about somebody? Pop their name in. Right. And 25, 30 minutes later, I'm still giving them more information. They were just pulling me along. But sites like that, I mean, what's the difference between working with a legitimate company that's a part of an association and licensed and just going online and getting a background check?
Well, it's in the details. If you go online and do a criminal history background check, what you're going to be getting is the national, quote unquote, national background check that doesn't check all jurisdictions and only checks by one name, missing a lot of information. For example, if you live in New York, that search does no good whatsoever. So you're paying good money for it. These searches could be 45 to 90 days old, and they can be wrong also. So do not rely only upon a national check that you can go online. You need to come to companies who are licensed and who do this for a living. And what we do is what we told you, social trace, county criminal, multi-state alias, and federal.
And so the types of businesses that are utilizing, that you're seeing a growth in the industries, obviously tenants who are putting people into their properties have got to check background checks. Companies that are doing hiring, either a small amount of hiring, I mean, one employee all the way up to the larger companies,
Absolutely.
Right? What other type people are coming to you for background checks?
Well, you get home health care, got nanny agencies,
So send somebody into somebody's home.
staffing companies, recruitment companies, manufacturing companies, all across the board.
Yeah, I mean, really, the more you think about it, you think about the potential damage. I mean, if you're hiring, you should send a background check.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know I've done a lot of hiring in my past, and in the old days, we didn't do background checks,
Right.
but at one point I had an employee bring me I don't know where she got it, but a background check. We had a call center, and she brought me a background check on one of the nicest guys working in there, but when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't have this guy working here. It was
Right.
really frightening. So, and recently, wasn't there was a mass shooting in Texas where the military hadn't reported something. Do you remember that? The military had not reported this gentleman's background in the records or something. I think it was the Sutherland shooting at the church. I don't recall that, but the military also is supposed to report infractions to these types of agencies that you check. Is that right? Or
There's a different process to go through with the military and what they report and what they can't report.
okay, so that's not something that's going to show up necessarily on a background check if that happens.
The military records, no.
Not going to show up
Unless you
okay.
look for them.
Okay, gotcha. What other tips would you give business owners about this?
Number one, go with a company that's reputable. Go with someone who belongs to a professional screening organization. In Texas, go with one who is licensed. You must be licensed here in the state of Texas. And just get different quotes from different people and let them tell you exactly what they're getting.
Yeah, and so while you're trying to wiggle $2 or $3 a background check off of a price, the liability is tremendous. So it might not be a place you want to.
No, you don't want to skimp on that.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're very grateful you came in today. Tell the audience how they get a hold of you by email and phone, if you will.
Okay, email, you can get a hold of me by info@marcusbackgroundinvestigations.com.
And that's MARCUS.
MARCUS. And you can also call us at 1-877-685-6691. Scott, let me just mention, too, that we do work for attorneys also. We're able to find assets. We're able to find property. We're able to do deep investigations of people. So keep that in mind also.
I remember you mentioning even if you had someone you were looking for, that y'all have some ability to help find people that might be missing.
In fact, when I went to my high school reunion, which I won't mention which one.
Or what year?
Yeah. They asked me if I could help them. And I found like 20 people that They had no idea who these people were.
Wow. So great. Well, listen, thank you so much for
You're
coming
welcome.
in. Appreciate for the information.
Sure thing, Scott. Thank you.